Hello, everybody. My name's Rick McCutcheon. I'm a Microsoft Business Applications MVP. And today on Partner Talks, I have a returning guest, Adam Berezin from MSDynamicsWorld. Adam, tell the people all about who you are and everything you want to tell them about MSDynamicsWorld.
Sure. Well, first off, thanks for having me on Partner Talks. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. As Rick mentioned, my name is Adam Berezin. I'm co-founder and CEO of MSDynamicsWorld, or MSDW as we call it. We've been around since 2008, and we serve two functions in the BizApps space. So the first is that we're the largest news and information resource in the world for BizApps focused content and news. And the second is that we provide very targeted digital demand gen programs to ISVs and partners all around the world.
So, Adam, congratulations. You've crossed the 100,000 member mark, I hear. So, I guess MSDW continues to grow and become, the place to go for information on business applications.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We have over 105,000 active registered members right now, so it's definitely the largest in this space, which is pretty cool. Members keep coming back to the site, and we keep getting new members, which is really a testament to the writers that we have, and the editors, and the ISVs and partners that produce all the awesome content that's posted to MSDW.
So, Adam, we've got an exciting topic today because we're going to be talking about your annual survey. We presented those results last year at both the partner marketing event at Dynamics Minds and at Directions in Europe. So it was excellent information that you got back from your readership. So tell us about the 2025 version.
Sure. So we call it the BizApps Ecosystem Trends and Insights Survey, which we run every year. We've been running it actually for, I think this might be the sixth or seventh year that we've run it. Primarily focuses on the relationships between ISVs and partners, the relationships between ISVs, partners, and users, as well as focusing on Dynamics and BizApps users' investment priorities for the following year. So it's a pretty interesting survey, and the results that we find from it are actually, they're always pretty surprising. I sometimes have a preconceived notion about how the results are going to appear, and I'm always surprised.
So last year, I know when your partner Jason presented it at the partner marketing event, I was really surprised, and we actually added some more to it. Some more to the results when we presented it in Vienna at Directions. But what really got me was how much content buyers are actually engaging with and what content at what stage of their buying journey, which, I noticed that MSDynamicsWorld compared what the buyers said they were doing compared to what the partners thought they were doing. And there were some considerable differences. And I think that was the big hit at the conferences, especially because they were partner events we did, was really the details that MSDW was able to pull out of that.
I completely agree. I mean, really, I always like to challenge the perception around how ISVs think they should work with partners and think they should market to end customers versus what the partners and end customers actually think they should be doing and prefer, and how they prefer to be marketed to and communicated to. So we always find that they're never on, those views are never aligned. The three groups, the ISVs and the partners and the users, they literally all have different expectations. And I think the important part of this survey is to really shine a light on those expectations and sort of the reality of how each group prefers to be interacted with. One really interesting thing that came up last year, and that I suspect will also come up again this year, is the number of touch points that users expect ISVs to provide them with before they even interact with them on a demo level or are ready to make a purchase decision. And I think, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was something like 8 or 9 different touch points that ISVs need to provide users before they make a purchase decision, which I find really interesting because, years back when we first started doing this survey, the number of touch points was a lot lower. And for some reason now, I think the purchase process has become a little bit more complicated, and there are different theories as to why that is. Um, but nevertheless, ISVs need to do a much better job of making sure that they are providing their prospects with lots of different types of content on a regular basis.
So, and I think this year, working with your editors, and when I looked at the questions before they went out, that we've
Mm.
added some really, I think, pointed questions on the P2P relationship
Mm-hmm.
between the partners.
Yep.
So, how do the partners or the ISV partners market to the SI, the VARs, and
Yep.
vice versa? How do the SI VARs want to be marketed to by the
And
ISVs? And
sure.
we can see that, you know, that's a big part of the change, how they market there, but also,
Yes.
the end user has much more power today, especially
Yep.
with the search engines and now with the AI search that's
Yep.
available. It's going to be a really, a three-legged stool on these sales, right?
Mhm.
Being involved with the ISV, with the partner, with the customer. So I think over the next couple of years, especially with AI being involved with us now, we're going to see big, big changes in that customer buying journey around the way they consume this content.
I agree with that. And one theory that I actually have around AI is that I guess hypothetically it should shorten up the sales cycle um, for users who are looking for ISV solutions. But time will tell if that actually happens. I mean, that obviously should be the goal, but I think right now it's a little too early to tell. But it'll be interesting to see some of the results that we get around that in the survey. But some of the things that this year's survey will be focusing on is how are VAR and VAR slash SI and ISV relationships working. How can ISVs effectively build and maintain a relationship with a VAR or an SI? What they need to do to market to them better. And what mistakes to avoid, which I think is critical because, there are so many ways that ISVs, or I should say, there are so many ISVs that feel a certain way about how they should approach a VAR or an SI and how they should market to them. Um, and a lot of the time, those I guess strategies they tend not to work as well, especially if that particular ISV occupies a very crowded solution focus area like AP automation or inventory management or reporting or something like that. So I'll be super interested to see how those results come out. But then it's also, it also gets into sort of more the nitty gritty about, what does the deal flow look like between VARs and ISVs? How can VARs and ISVs together optimize the way that they work with clients? But then more importantly, also, it's how do users prefer to select and interact with ISVs? Same thing with VARs too. There's lots of users that they're not happy with their partners or they're going through a bad implementation and they need to be rescued. So, what do VARs and SIs need to do in order to, win those types of clients over? So there's all really cool types of information out there that is 100% specific to the Microsoft Business Applications community.
So, I think this is going to be a key study that comes out, and we're already scheduled to present that again at Dynamics Minds
Mm-hmm.
in Europe and at the partner marketing event. And I'm sure we're going to be at a few other events this year presenting
Yep.
this data because I think it's really important to the ecosystem. We'll attach all the links to this Partner Talks interview and make sure that anybody who wants to participate, and I strongly suggest it, if you're a customer, if you're an ISV, or if you're an SI partner,
Mhm.
get in there and, get your say and become involved with the feedback to the community. So, Adam, thanks for your time today, and I look forward to the
Absolutely.
results.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a good day.